Hello YouTube, I'm Joanna, this is Tina, and we are Craftin' with Tina. Today's craft is come to me by a special request for birthdays to make a piñata. So to start, I'll tell you that this is my first time doing a paper mache project like this. I watched some YouTube videos myself to get a little bit educated on how to do this. So this will be a bit of an experiment, and in our first video we're gonna cover just the initial layer of the paper mache, because we do of course need to let it dry for about 24 hours, I'm told, before you can paint it or decorate it. So materials. Started with a balloon. Ideally, if you had a perfectly round balloon, that would be wonderful. This is what I had in my home, a little more egg-shaped. It'll work. We also need some strips of paper. So for that, you can use an old newspaper, an old magazine, ads that you receive in the mail. I happen to have a lot of leftover coffee filters. I don't have a coffee maker, but I have a pack of coffee filters. So I'm gonna try using those for the paper. I think that should work well. And if not, I guess we're gonna find out. Here you go, girl. The last thing I did was make this paste that's sort of pancake batter consistency. It's flour, water, school glue, and a little salt. I'll leave a recipe for it in the notes. I just kind of estimated though. I don't think that it has to be a perfect science. It's not like we're baking something. It just needs to be a little runny, a little sticky and goopy. You ready, Tina? To hold everything in place, I'm using this small colander, or you could use a bowl, so that you have a base to keep the balloon steady while you work. So this top part of the balloon here, we'll use that and paste around it to make a little opening where you can put candy and treats into the piñata. Did someone say treats? Here you go, girl. And paper mache, you just dip some paper in, then you kind of have to run your fingers through. This gets messy because you don't want it to be too thick with glue. You want just enough. And oh yes, I can see that this is going to be a bit of a process, huh? But we have time, don't we? We have time here in our homes where not a lot else is going on. And I think that there might be a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Static electricity. I think there's a little static electricity at play that's getting this all moving around. So this part I'm just gonna speed through because it's gonna take me a little while to do. We'll speed through it and you can watch the process in about 20 times speed as I go. again. So what you just watched took me about a half hour to do. I added on layers and then flipped it over to get the other side of the balloon. I read online that you can do about 3 layers before you have to stop and let it dry for 24 hours. For me, that kind of patience is very difficult. It's hard to be patient with a project and also know that there's not a whole lot you can do. You just have to sit and wait. Much like being at home and social distancing, it can be a little boring at times and there's not always action you can take. And sometimes just waiting is in itself an action. A few tips and pointers that I learned from this process and from watching other YouTube videos is that first of all, you do need to wait about 24 hours. You can also use a container for your glue that has a lid on it and pop that in the fridge. That way it'll stay fresh for you so that you can come back to it and add more layers the next day. Of course, the more layers this has, the stronger it is and the harder it's going to be to break. You might want to do this project over the course of a few days, adding little bits of layers as you go. I will be back again soon to show you how to decorate this. And in the meantime, I might place a fan on this. I've also heard that you could do a hair dryer on a cool setting to speed up the process of drying. One thing that I read is that it is possible to put this in the oven on a very low heat. No. I mean, had people done that successfully? Probably. Me personally, being accident prone, I think the idea of sticking paper and rubber into the stove is probably not the best idea. So I'm not going to try that out, and I wouldn't recommend it, although I might try the fan method or low heat with the hair dryer just to speed things along. So until next time, it was great to see you all. Goodbye. Thank you for crafting with Tina.